many clients contact us saying, Ignacio, we're paying too much because of my mortgage payments. Can we do anything about it? Let me tell you a real story about John and Mary who managed to get back 38,000 euros saving on the mortgage payments. Just follow me and I'll tell you two different situations. Now, John and Mary came here many years ago and they had a big mortgage, and a mortgage with certain conditions which at the time were okay, but it did have abusive conditions and there was no other way around but accepting at the time being imposed by the bank. So John and Mary managed to buy a property in Spain and they were offered a mortgage, and the mortgage was 0.5%, very, very cheap, but it had an abusive clause which it said the Euribor will be whatever is the reference value plus 0.5%. But there was a hidden condition here. It could never go below 5%. At that time, probably nobody really expected to happen, or probably they didn't even realize when they bought it. But the credit crunch came and the Euribor went down and down and down, but the mortgage payment will never go down. Now what happened? They did contact us and said, Ignacio, is there any way we could save that money? At that time, you might remember, we start fighting against banks because of the abusive clauses. And Europe at the end did support that with regards to the ground floor clause. Right, Mary and John managed to put their whole case through us. We start a court case, it took us years, and we finally managed to get this clause reduced, and therefore the judge ordered to made it void basically. The consequences is that the real mortgage now will be very, very cheap, and they did save 38,000 euros in the long contract with the bank. There were more things to claim on that mortgage. There was all the expenses, the notary fees, the register fees, the valuation. So there is a lot of things that were wrong at the time, and we managed to get that for them. Now, in this case, a real case, it took us years, but it was very successful. There is a situation now with the IRPH that hasn't been so lucky through the courts yet. But there is another way that you could save money here. And let me tell you, we've done it for many clients, and we even do it for ourselves, because you should review your mortgage deed as times move on. And let me tell you a second story here, which it was another client who came and said, Ignacio, I have the IRPH. Can we do something about it? Okay, we tried to fight it through the banks, and it still hasn't been very clear by Europe, because Europe did send it to the real judge here to analyze the specific case of every single one. So what we've done, because you need to value whether you could remove that through the courts or whether there is another important way to remove it, which is finding a different mortgage. In the old days, probably the RPH, it will be about 2.5% all the time. Probably is the average that they had it at the time. But now, and probably at the time, you were non-resident. But now times moves on, conditions are different, and the best way you could do now is shop around. How could you do it? You need to have the mortgage deed and the last payment receipt, okay? What we did for them is saying, okay, we've got a problem here with the IRPH for this case, second case, we still don't know whether we're going to get anywhere through the courts because it's time and it's not that clear, there is not so much doctrine. How can we start from now saving money? And the way to do it is get your title deed, get your last payment, and find another provider. Now, we've been in contact now with many banks trying to offer to remove that in an extrajudicial way. So, my recommendation here is, if you have a case like John and Mary, who they managed to save a lot of money, you could put it still through the courts. You could still take your title deed through the courts if we identify void, abusive conditions. But if you're in a situation where your case is not that clear, and there is not much doctrine, but you could still save money and you're willing to save money from today, what you need to do is get your title deed, get the last payment, and shop around. Now, we've been helping a lot of clients in two ways. We've been doing the court cases way, and we've been doing the extrajudicial case. We even did for ourselves in our own experience, and I tell you that you could save a lot of money. Now, the good thing here is you've got the mortgage, but you could find a better deal according to today's market. If you were a non-resident, you know that the non-resident conditions are not the same than the resident conditions. It's a matter of working out how much money could I save if I change a mortgage. If it works out for you, go for it. In the office, we've been helping many clients, and we're happy to help you if you have any questions. So, if you need to save money and you think this is your case, contact us today and we'll help you. Thank you.